day for a ride. Welcome back to the channel. Gonna take a ride from beautiful Coogee, Sydney, New South Wales. Gonna head out west a bit. This is a beautiful part of the world. Just had a swim. The water was absolutely gorgeous. Couldn't fault it. This is one of the steepest hills in Sydney, I reckon. Wouldn't like to ride a push bike up here, that's for sure. Bicycle. We call them pushies in Australia. Although there's some pretty steep hills in some other areas in the eastern suburbs I've ridden a bike. Bicycle, I should say. I guess that brings me to a point of, depending on the area, depends how kind of noticed you are as a rider. I mean, the eastern suburbs, there's a lot of riders. This is the eastern suburbs of Sydney. It's a real tourist destination, and there's a lot of people riding. There's a lot of tourists riding scooters, like these rental scooters and stuff. It's been like that for years, so I guess people around here are far more aware of cars and bikes, as much as they're aware of anything. There's some people that are just clueless, but they're just more aware in general, and like they don't have a problem with you kind of filtering or going around, or it's not a big deal, you know what I mean? So it feels, you do feel a bit safer in this area in a weird way, even though there's more traffic, there's more congestion than further out west, say. But it's just not the I don't know what you'd call it. Sometimes I think you call it hostility towards riders, and I think it's from people that are just hostile in general. It's not just towards riders, but they're like a bit more aggressive, not letting you in, that kind of stuff, not aware of you being there. So we're going from this area to that type of area. Although there are a lot more riders than there used to be out there, it's just not anywhere near as much as around these type of suburbs, because the scooter's far more practical around here than, say, a car. But you hardly see scooters out in the western suburbs of Sydney. Hardly, because at some point to get anywhere decent requires a longer trip. The only time you see scooters is for like Uber Eats and pizza delivery and that kind of stuff. For commuting, most people out there, they've got to commute to work, and it's a big reason you have your bike. It's just too long. And, you know, you don't want to be banging a 125 or a 250 on the freeway. And then if you have a bigger scooter, well, yeah, you do see that from time to time. You do see big scooters from time to time, but very rarely. I feel most of the bikes out west that I see are cruisers or sports bikes, whereas you don't see many adventure bikes as much as you do around here. So it really is kind of like what area you live in as for what type of bikes are popular. So I've said this before, like particularly when buying a motorcycle, you can get really good deals on bikes just by traveling a little bit further away. And I know you guys in the States, you travel like interstate to buy the right bike, or like a long way to get a deal on a motorcycle. I feel like people in Sydney are kind of lazy in that respect. If it's anything more than half an hour away, they don't want to know, which is ridiculous, because you can save a fortune. Even just travelling like an hour and a half away from Sydney, you can save $2 or $3 grand. So it doesn't make sense. Just rent a van for like, you know, $200-300 for the whole day, maybe $200 or $150. Drive up there or drive down there, go and get the bike. Make sure you get a video walkthrough before you go, so you know kind of what you're in for. You can grab a real bargain. I think since, you know, 2020, people have become far more insular, far more, it's a big word, Alan, far more insular, meaning they're kind of just stay in their little boxes, you know what I mean? And I feel that it's only the tourists or the people that are coming into the country now that are kind of breaking that mould. There's a lot of people that don't even travel outside their suburb anymore, which is bizarre. a wood lane filter, but there's a window cleaner. There's a window cleaner in the way. He does alright with one arm. He does really well. Definitely got back in the habit of rev bombing a little bit, just to give people a sense of awareness. I think there is something in that. People will disagree and say, you know, loud pipes don't save lives. Each to their own. I feel like, yeah, there is a bit of there's a reliance on it. I don't rev bomb all the time, you know. You're better off hitting your horn in an emergency. Doesn't make sense, but just to give people a little bit of a hurry up, you know what I mean? We'll give them a sense of awareness that you're there. And this bike isn't great for rev bombing. It's pretty quiet. I don't even know if you can hear it on the mic when I do it. Yeah, you can, but I really want to get an exhaust that allows this thing to breathe a little better. Haven't gone this way in a long time. Treating you guys. Apparently. So ED is the Eastern Distributor. That's where it wants me to go. The M1 can take you all the way to Newcastle on this road. I've got to say, if you've got a GPS, which everyone does, who doesn't have one, right? You can get pretty much anywhere in Sydney on a freeway up to a certain extent. They are all tolled, which is the bummer. There's very few freeways, ironically. Once you get out going to Newcastle or interstate and that kind of stuff, they're free, but most of the ones around in Sydney are toll roads. So we're actually going, the ED just cuts across the Eastern Distributor, right? And then you go through you can either go over the bridge or you go through the harbour tunnel. There's a tunnel that goes right under the Sydney harbour. Like I said, if you don't have a GPS, these roads are so confusing. I think Sydney'd have to be one of the most confusing places, apart from New York. Confusing places around. So we're going this way now, and then we're going to basically come out onto a merge with some other roads, and we're going to come out to like 6 lanes in a second, and people have to cross all the way over from the very far left to the very far right in a short space of time. So I think there's you know, the Sydney infrastructure, original infrastructure, is very dated, and they just keep patching it up and making it better. But there's no way this guy can see me because he doesn't actually have a mirror on the side of his car. It's just unfortunate. Is welcome to Sydney. I do see people filtering next to these big semis, the big trucks. I tend to avoid it. I'll wait. I mean, I figure like if you go down, God forbid, but if you go down under there, not a nice place to be. I tend to avoid them. I'm very cautious around trucks. I've seen enough of those scary videos on TikTok, and I don't watch TikTok. What do I watch? Instagram or YouTube. To know that they just don't see you, they don't feel you, they don't even feel. I've seen a semi trailer. I've been around on this planet 50 years nearly. I've seen one of them pushing a car sideways, like hit the car, T-boned the car at a slow speed. Didn't see it. Pushed it sideways for a good few hundred meters, and you hear in the car, it was a dump truck actually, this guy, wakey, hearing the car's tyres screaming. Everyone noticed it, but I don't know why the truckie didn't stop. Or maybe he couldn't stop, maybe his brakes failed, who knows. It wasn't a suburban area, it wasn't like out on the freeway or anything. I've seen container trucks, you know, with those big metal shipping containers. I've seen them tip over right in front of me, going around the bend. I've seen many trucks go through red lights. At the end of the day, there's just tons and tons of rolling steel. A lot of, you know, I'm not a physics major, a lot of inertia there, a lot of power there. And it's got someone who's doing it every day, who's bored, who's not paying attention, or if there's someone irresponsible, or someone who's not like a lifelong truckie, or whatever it is, making mistakes, right? And I know truckies that have been doing it their entire lives. They're amazing, like they're just conditioned to do it. Absolutely amazing, alert the whole time. Alert the whole time, on the ball. And then there's the ones they're driving these things that are, you know, hundreds of or thousands of tons of steel. I don't even know what they weigh. Might be making that up. But hundreds of tons of steel, right? And they're driving them like they're driving a Corolla. We need trucks, especially in a country like this. We don't have a rail network everywhere. We need trucks. But I just question some of the drivers, not the industry. Right? So this is what I mean. So we're kind of like merging. We've come out. So now we've got 4 or 5 lanes here, plus they've got 2 there. And it'll all be coming down, merging, splitting up. Look at it. Look at the board there. So many directions to go, so freaking confusing. I feel sorry for people that come from overseas or driving for the first time, or people that don't regularly drive in Sydney. It must be absolutely confusing, nerve-wracking, you name it. Especially here, there'll be people who want to go from there left. There'll be people that all want to merge. And because they're doing these roadworks or tunnels, there might be another exit. I don't know what the hell they do. Like, they're kind of adding to the chaos. It's not a system overload. There's too much to sort of take in, if you like. I mean, there's a lot to take in. So much to take in. But even now, I mean, I know the road really well. It's kind of like, which lane do I take? Which way do I go? What's going to be best? The only reason I'm taking the freeway is because I want to beat soccer mum time. It's the worst time of day, like from 2:30 to sort of 3:15. The worst time of day to drive. Like, I know the mornings suck too, so sort of from like 8:30 to 9:15, 9:30. 8 o'clock to 9:30, that sucks, but there's something about the afternoon where everything is worse. I don't know, because they're taking their kids to other places or what the deal is, but logic goes out the window and it's just it's a shit show. I don't know how else to describe it. So yes, I choose to pay to avoid that, because if I went the non-toll roadway, I'd follow through, I'd go through 5 or 6 school zones, which in Sydney, they've all, the speed limit's down to 40 kilometres an hour. And most of those zones have cameras. I wouldn't speed through it anyway, but I agree that school zones, it doesn't hurt to reduce the speed limit around kids, especially since they seem to be trained with less of a clue about life, when they're mollycoddled by their parents. I know there's probably one of those parents who knows, not above anyone else. But yeah, I agree with the speed limit's been 40, but your journey sort of doubles, and then you've got the pickup. The mum's picking up, and like I said, logic goes out the window. They're busy talking to their kids. I don't know what they do. I don't know what's on their mind. But sure as hell isn't driving. It's everything else but driving. So I like to get out of the way. Those are two of the times of the day that I avoid. In fact, I would rather drive in the peak hour from 5 o'clock onwards. 5 o'clock onwards. There's more cars on the road, but everyone kind of knows what they're doing, you know what I mean? I'd rather drive in that, in peak hour, than school pickup time. There's more sense of urgency, and people are a little bit crazier at 4 on peak times, but you know, there's a lot of, I don't mind that sense of urgency. You just got to be looking out for things, you know. Let's see if my glove works. Supposed to have something in it that acts like a finger. I think it's a big con. Never seems. Although I do have a screen protector on this, but who doesn't have a screen protector on your phone? Like, phones are so friggin' expensive. doesn't have a screen protector. But yeah, it doesn't. I was a bit disappointed. It worked in the store, but no joy. When I was couriering, you know, you had to tap, obviously not while you were riding, while you were stopped in a safe environment, pulled over the side of the road. I was thinking about cutting the tip off the finger of my gloves, you know, because I got sick of having to pull my glove off to tap away at something, you know. I've got to say, there is a part of me that misses being a courier. The type of courier work that I used to do, I mean, it was a short-lived career, but I really enjoyed the long rides, kind of pushing yourself. You had to go in all types of weather. No excuses, you had to do it. I don't feel like I've been on any long rides. I mean, I was without a license for 3 months, so that sort of ended that career, but it wasn't a career, it was a side gig career. But it was kind of like I didn't want the pressure of riding. I was kind of losing the enjoyment of it. It did make me a better rider, even though the 3 months off didn't. I kind of feel a bit stale. But I've got the enjoyment back. But it's an interesting job, let me put it that way. If it didn't take its toll, like, imagine being on your bike, if you haven't done it, if you have been a courier, let me know what type of gigs you did. How everyone's going. I'm the slowest one on the road. I love this, everyone's got a sense of urgency. Let me know in the comments what kind of courier you were. I know there's a lot of people that do a lot of stuff around Sydney or around their city, but I kind of did like a vast area. I kind of did anything from little jobs, pottering around the CBD all day, to going from CBD to Newcastle, then back to CBD, then back down south, maybe to Gerringong or something, like a serious amount of Ks, like a serious amount of Ks a day, like averaging on a big day there's like 500-600 Ks in a day. I need to adjust the suspension on this or do something. I'm feeling a bit of a shake through the steering wheel. Through the handlebars. I don't know if it's the windscreen changing the aerodynamics. I'm not sure. You wouldn't think so, would you? I might have to play with the shocks a bit. It is a windy day, and I'm so grateful for this thing. I'm so grateful for this windscreen. I don't know how to sell it. The PUIG windscreen. I'm going to put a video up on the installation of it. Because I wanted to save up the footage to make sure that I could give us, a decent review of it. There's no point just putting it on and going for a ride and going, no, it's better. I wanted to sort of ride it a month in all sorts of different conditions. But yeah, that's the thing I miss about kind of being a courier, is the long rides, kind of pushing yourself almost past your limits. I remember some of those days I was like absolutely knackered. This isn't the easiest bike to manoeuvre all day. It's definitely not the worst, but manoeuvring around traffic. Filtering requires a lot of concentration. You know, it's an adventure bike, so you're sitting upright, so even though I've got the windscreen now, I've had it like done 500 k's in a day without a windscreen, just getting buffeted all day. And I look back and I go, I'm glad I did it. I rate myself. I definitely give myself a pat in the back for doing it. It's just that when I had a break from it, losing my license, I kind of said, do I really want to go back to it? Is it worth the money? Because it's not a huge earning job. It just depends on the type of jobs you get, but it averages out to be a pretty average payday. You know, you take good days. If you had a good day every single day you worked, I'd do it in a heartbeat, because like it can be a really good payday, right? When you have good days and you're doing, you know, a couple of long trips with XXX Express, like, you know, a couple of long trips with Super Express, you're covered, man. That's a decent payday. And if you get that a couple of times a week, 2 or 3 times a week, that's golden. You know, that you earn decent living on it, and you ride off your bikes and you get to be riding every day. Got to be a certain level of fitness and conditioning, I believe, and you got to invest in the gear, like a headset, second phone. So, you know, I can show you. I'll do a video if you guys want to about my courier setup and my experiences there. So drop me a comment if you want a video on that. I don't know what's happening here, but someone's slowing us down. So this is the fast lane in Sydney. You got someone going as slow as hell. That's alright, because I can take the bus lane. Oblivious to everyone else, just doing their own thing. Yeah, I don't know if it's that's something to look at. I don't know if it's the windscreen creating that vibration. I will play with the preloads on the suspensions. I haven't touched that in a while, so we'll do that. With my tyre pressure too, I feel that might be affecting it. These tyres aren't that old, but having 3 months, I did try and move them around, but having 3 months without riding it wouldn't have helped. They still feel pretty good though. It's a vibration I didn't notice before, so I can't comment on whether it's the windscreen. So I'll play with a few things and see what it is. Could be it seems like a lower vibration, lower down, working its way up. This road here is one of the most expensive roads in Sydney. So I probably, from where I left to the time I entered it to the time I'm going to get off, that's like $25 or something, one way. Alright, correct me if I'm wrong. Always take what I say with a pinch of salt, because I don't always check my facts 100%. I just pay my bills, but yeah, it's a ridiculous amount of money. I feel it's a ridiculous amount of money. I feel it's an outrageous amount of money. I think you should pay a fixed toll rate for using the road, not this this segmented thing they've created to rip people off. It's to sort of penalise people that live further out west, because they're the ones that pay the most. It's another tax on trucks, but don't get me started. I've ranted enough on toll roads. But you tell me what you believe. If you live in Sydney, tell me what your opinion is on the tolls. I might actually, I don't know why I don't do a video just on tolls. I should. Because I'm so passionate about it. I've never seen a bus on the back of on a trailer. That's a first. I've seen them towed, but I've never seen them on a trailer like that. It's not even. It's nice Africa Twin, beautiful bike. But I'd be heading up here if I were you. It's where you belong, where that bike belongs anyway. That's the bike I nearly bought. I couldn't justify it. Because they are a lot more to service than these things. And a lot of the things on that bike you can't do yourself, where I can do it pretty much everything myself on this. So, but they're a beautiful bike. A lot more technology in the Africa Twin. That's what I'm saying. It's, you know, there are a lot of things that are a lot trickier to do. Look at that thing. Drag that out to make that a lot more melodramatic than it needed to be. That's funny. Like, as soon as I don't filter, I regret it. Like, I get impatient. Like, I know these lights last a while. It's going to be fine. There's like, it's, for a bike ride, it's so much wasted time. Because we don't have to sit there. "30 degrees now. Ooh, warmed up. Glad I had a swim." Let's have a look. What's the time? 2:30. Ugh. In the danger zone. I don't think I'm passing any schools. On this side of the road? No. Oh yeah, I am actually. There's so many schools around, mate. Like, you really notice. Look, there we go. Really notice how many schools there are come 2:30, because all these school zones light up. Lovely. Now I've had the uncanny ability to get on these motor vlogs evidence to prove what I'm saying in real time, but I don't want to today. I don't want some soccer mum to do something silly. I just want to get home. But I am going through a school zone near where my kids used to go to school. It is the school my kids used to go to school at. Let's just get through that smoothly, shall we? But they'll be there now. They don't finish till 3 o'clock, but they'll all be lining up to get the best spot, so they don't have to walk 50 metres to pick their kid up. Their kid can just saunter out straight into the car. It's a bizarre thing. Bizarre thing. Look at that. There it is up there. That's the school. He's a soccer dad. And this one. These are all soccer mums here. Up to this point. But by 3 o'clock it'll be full all the way up to this sign, this one-way sign. So 20 minutes. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Like, subscribe. I'll see you next time, champs.